Hi guys, we're about 4, 5, 6 weeks into home groups, and I wanted to take some time to touch base with you on a couple of things. First off, great job. Been hearing great things from both groups as far as how things are going. Both groups are getting ready to go into the second curriculum or program or book club that you guys are digging into. I'm hearing that this is getting ready to go through the Craig Rochelle book, um, Weird, and then Bundes group's going to be talking this Tuesday night about with the head and neck. So things are going really well. Having great turnout of both, having great relationships of both, and so I'm just again want to thank you guys for your service and for your heart to serve. So that in mind, I also want to touch base with you on a topic. Normally, just kind of in the process of things, maybe I'd wait another month on this particular topic, but both groups are going so well, and they've already got a foundation under their feet that I wanted to dig into it now. One of the things I want to talk about is that we should start seeing more and more opportunities and more chances to build intimacy within our groups. Again, when we look at the model and the things that we want to provide as a church, home groups is really where we focus in on relationships, the intimate relationships where we're going deeper. It's not Sunday morning where people are kind of coming in and there's a lot of chaos and people are leaving to go to lunch. It's where we're really focusing on relationships. So it's really important that we're talking about, that we're mindful about, and that we're creating intimacy and making sure that we don't have any blockades for intimacy as well. So I just jotted down some thoughts as I've been sitting here in my office today. I want to give you some suggestions of things, some of the things you're already doing, but again, it's a mindfulness. We want to make sure that it's there. The first thing that I want to encourage you as facilitators is just making sure that we're constantly keeping kind of those guidelines in place as far as confidentiality, that we're reminding our people every once in a while that, again, whatever happens in this room, what we talk about in this room, unless somebody's getting hurt and they need help, they be physically safe or emotionally safe, or maybe even a legal issue, outside of those extreme situations, that everything that happens within the group or said within the group stays within the group, so that people are aware of that at all times. So if something major does come up and you have to get me involved or it has to go further, they know that up front and they don't feel violated, and they can also make good decisions on what they're sharing. So keeping those guidelines out there is going to be important during this time. Another thing that I encourage is just as you watch your group and you're listening to people, especially before and after group, make sure you don't allow gossip at all, even if it has nothing to do with anybody within your group. If you're talking about people at work or talking about your spouse or talking about a family member, just really be cautious of gossip, and just kind of snuff it in a kind way, a loving way, but a consistent way. Because I've heard people over the years, even long before our church, is if they're in a group and they see people that are loose-lipped, then they are going to assume that you're talking about, or somebody in the group is talking about them in other areas of life. So having a gossip-free zone really opens up a door for intimacy and for people to be honest and real with each other. Third thing is don't be afraid to ask personal questions. Don't go over the top, but like if you're going through a curriculum and it has a question, you're like, it's kind of personal, or you think of a question that I don't know if people are going to feel comfortable answering this. I really encourage you as facilitator to put that out as a normal question and not even bring up the negative of, I know this is really personal, but just make it normal, just saying, hey, what about this? If people feel it's too personal, they won't answer it. They just won't. And you'll notice that after a few moments, I would save a little bit of time. 'Cause sometimes people need uncomfortable silence, as we've seen before over the years. But don't be afraid to ask personal questions. If you say, "Hey, this is a personal question," you might not want to answer it. You're introducing the negative, and somebody might say, "Well, I was going to say something, but maybe it's too personal. Maybe we don't shouldn't talk about that in front of each other." Just open those doors for intimacy and trust your people that are entrusted to you to run with the ball or to put the wall up, and they'll find that over time. So don't be afraid to ask a personal question. Don't be afraid to share personal stories. I'm not advocating that you tell everybody everything, but as God leads you, if God puts a personal story on your heart and you share it, trusting the people that are in the group, then they see that you're trusting them. that this is a safe place. Even the facilitator felt comfortable sharing this or sharing that, or that personal story. So as we're sharing stories and we're asking personal questions, then we're going to start seeing a group that's growing closer together and be more personal with one another, which is really one of the main goals of our home group. So those two really go hand in hand, giving the opportunity and then modeling the example. Another one that I would suggest, when you have an opportunity comes up or you feel the Spirit prodding yourself, is finding opportunities to serve together. When we're serving together, it gives us a common goal and a common purpose, and a common humbleness to build those relationships and to while also being served. So whether it be touching base with Jenny and getting with the food pantry with me through Leapin, or some opportunity has nothing to do with the church. Maybe it's a family that's moving, maybe it's a family that's going through a challenge, looking for those opportunities to be able to serve together, to get your hands dirty together, to sacrifice a little bit of time together, will build your intimacy as well. And then the last one I'll share with you is just with full love, don't be afraid to share the truth. And I think that goes into some of the things we went through in our facilitating training. But when we're constantly putting those two together in a biblical way, bringing love out of our heart and bringing truth of the scripture or truth of a situation to somebody, and they know, here I am in a group that I can be safe with my successes, but I can also be safe with my failures, and they're going to love me and they're going to trust me, and they're also going to engage me in those things. When we have a tough situation and we're all just kind of like, oh, don't want to be part of that, it shows, and people pick up on that, and they think, okay, that this group isn't prepared for that. It's going to get a little messy sometimes, but when we are consistent with our love and truth, especially you as facilitators, we show people that this is a place where you can bring anything, and we will love you through anything. We will bring you the truth of the scripture to anything. We'll encourage and challenge each other in anything, but it's all going to be done in love. Then people will feel more and more confident within those relationships. Again, we can have groups that feel comfortable with each other, or we can have groups that are intimate with each other. And I was just thinking these might be some of the things I wanted to share with you to make sure that we're building on a continuous basis towards having the kind of relationships that we all desire within our home groups. So those are my thoughts. If you have any questions or further ideas, please feel free to touch base with me. And again, I appreciate what you guys are doing. Keep it up. You guys are my prayers, and I really love you guys for everything that you're doing for the kingdom through your home groups. Thank you very much. Be blessed.